Although I love role-playing games, I haven't played many role-playing games. I usually look at them as a book because they are too long and troublesome. But I still enjoy it when I dedicate that time to them and play. That's the same way the game Disco Elysium I'm going to tell you about today. Disco Elysium won the admiration of many players in the year it came out. I played the game in 2022, 3 years after the game was released, and I liked it very much. My RPG adventure, which started with Divinity Original Sin 1, was crowned in Disco Elysium. Let's see why I love this game so much. Let's start with the story part. The player character wakes up in a trashed hostel room in Martinez with a severe hangover and no memory of his own identity. He meets Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi, who informs him that they have been assigned to investigate the death of a hanged man in an empty lot behind the hostel. The victim's identity is unclear, and initial analysis of the scene indicates that he was lynched by a group of people. The detectives explore the rest of the district, following up on leads while helping residents with a variety of tasks. The story may seem simple to you at first glance, but the universe we are in saves the story from simplicity. A lot of unusual things are going on around us, and the city stands on the brink of civil war with different differences of opinion. Although our main task is to solve the murder, we find ourselves in all kinds of tasks like in every RPG game. Sometimes we try to talk to children, sometimes we help explorers. The game manages to attract your attention every second. Especially the absurdity in the dialogues is enough to attract your attention. With all that, our story is really well written. It's as bumpy and detailed as a novel. The way the story is presented is also very nice. Although the game does not have great graphics, it has managed to pass the emotion. We can connect with the character and worry about them. Each of them is written like a real person. They have very different ideas and lives. The game provides this realism with a multiplicity of dialogue choices. Now let's talk about gameplay. The gameplay part uses mechanics similar to the classic RPG mechanics. The game usually proceeds through dialogues. A nice mechanic they applied in the dialogue system was the effect of our own feelings on the game. Our character has a skill tree-like tree, where we can develop our character. If we want, we can develop our character's police skills, muscle strength, or logic. These improvements determine the direction we will go in the dialogues in the game. According to the characteristics of our character, some dialogues are opened, some are not. That's why we have to be careful while developing our character. At the same time, these developments speak to us like an inner voice during missions. In short, the gameplay is decorated with nice features added to the classic RPG genre and is quite enjoyable. I also want to bash the atmosphere and music of the game. Although the game does not have realistic graphics, it fascinates people with its drawings and music. Of course, I will have some criticisms as well. Although I praise the dialogue system of the game, after a while the game can be very tiring. Because even the simplest task has a lot of irrelevant dialogue options. You can tell me you can play the game without pressing them, but I'm afraid that I might miss some important things in the game. Of course, there may be a lot of dialogue, but talking with a character I started talking to for half an hour starts to get tired after a while. Especially when our inner voice is involved, we may have to skip some dialogues. I think it would be nice if the dialogues were cut a little and increased more gradually for each character. One of my criticisms is that some days there is nothing to do in the game's own day system, while on some days the tasks accumulate too much. Especially at the beginning of the game, I couldn't find many tasks and wandered around, and I couldn't catch up with the tasks towards the end of the game. I think the balance of this could have been better. To summarize, I really liked the game. I played like reading a book and had a different experience. Even though I was sometimes overwhelmed by the intensity of the dialogues, I finished it without losing my interest. My rating for the game is